I think we are officially recording. Hello, my name is Stephanie Llacuna, and I'm with Pure Harmony Toxin-Free Beauty and Lifestyle. And I am so pleased to have with me my guest, Matt Gersper. Matt is an author, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur. He's the founder of Happy Living, which is a health and wellness media and book publishing company. He's the author of Turning Inspiration into Action, The Belief Roadmap, and Inspiring Women. Matt believes a better self is always possible, today and every day, and he has dedicated the rest of his professional life to developing and sharing best practices for health and happiness. So in addition to Matt's work with Happy Living, he is also the CEO of one of my favorite toxin-free companies, Third Rock Essentials. So those of you who are in my Pure Harmony, I love it, who are in my Pure Harmony group are probably very familiar with these products. I love to share them as options for safe alternatives for personal care items, first aid, and all sorts of things. So Matt has had over 30 years in the business world helping businesses with accounts payable auditing, international trade compliance, a lot of very impressive sounding stuff. So it's a true honor to have you here. And I had recently took notice of a very inspiring article and I guess idea or acronym, I would say, PANIC, that Matt has been sharing with people to help cope with the coronavirus and really give some inspiration to finding a really nice way to work through this and finding peace within ourselves. So Matt, I will turn it over to you to give an overview of PANIC and why this is so important to us as we're going through this pandemic.
Well, thank you. Hello, everyone. And Stephanie, thanks for having me on your show. This is an honor for me. And it's a surprise because none of us thought we were going to be involved in anything like this. That's for sure, right? This invisible enemy descended upon us, and it looks like it's going to have a pretty big impact on changing a lot of lives and maybe livelihoods and how we do things and so on and so forth. And when it started, I really didn't give it much thought. A lot of us didn't. All the things that, people die from the flu, and I just didn't think it was that big a deal, to be honest with you. And 2 weeks ago, I think, must have been 2 weeks ago, before a lot of the U.S. stuff happened. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks ago is like a lifetime ago in COVID-19.
Yes.
I got a call from a woman who I'd been a guest on her podcast called Onward. And she said, Matt, I'm putting together a team of experts to talk about how they're dealing with the coronavirus. And would you be a guest? And I thought, well, I don't have any qualifications. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But I said, yes, I would love to. I am a human being. And I think I thought I might have something to offer. So she said, can I interview you like the next day? I said, no, can you give me till Monday and let me give it some thought? And so I really, for the first time, I had to give it some thought. What do I think about this disease that's overrunning the earth right at the moment? And two words came to mind: perspective and calm.
Yeah, good words.
From perspective and calm, I wanted to come up with something clever that would be provocative, right? So a lot of people, and I was thinking words and so on, and I came up with the word panic. Okay, panic. I think people are panicking and they shouldn't panic. And I'm gonna tell you why I think you shouldn't be panicking. So, okay, how can I get A, N, and I involved in my response to the coronavirus? And so I thought about it and I said, adapt. One of the things I have to do, I needed to adapt because I was resisting it.
Yes.
And I needed to embrace it. And I needed to say, okay, if my governor tells me to stay home, I'm going to stay home. If they say we can't fly, I was still envisioning in my mind keeping life as normal, I was going to go to a conference that I thought would still be going, which of course now we know there are none. Right. But back then it was still on. But I had the thought that, well, maybe I'll drive to Texas instead of fly because that'd be safer. So even though I thought I wasn't buying into it, I was still adapting.
Right.
So I came up with adapt. And then I came up with I was pretty easy. We need to invest. And the reason there's two crises going on at the same time that's scaring the hell out of people. And it's a health crisis, COVID-19, and it's a financial crisis, also COVID-19.
Absolutely.
So I thought so invest needs to be a part of this, and there's more to invest, there's more to all of it. And so then I was missing an in, and we're all told to be staying at home in our nest.
Mm-hmm.
Empty nesting, when your kids leave, they say you're empty nested.
Yes.
You're nesting in your house, you're doing something to make your house more
nurturing,
more suited to what you want it to be.
Right.
Customizing your house to your needs. So that's it. Perspective, right. Adapt, nest, invest, and remain calm.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I definitely experienced many of those stages that you described. It took me several weeks. I mean, really, when you think about from the start of the conversations about coronavirus, it took me a few months to actually acknowledge to myself, oh yeah, this probably is a pretty big deal and something that I have to accept, that we have to, not that I'm going to live in fear, but that it's something that we're going to have to work through. So.
Well, the other day when we talked and getting ready for this, I made some advancements on what you just talked about, that yes, we need to take it seriously, but how can we decide what's real and what's hype?
Yes.
So this is the start of it all. This is perspective. So you mentioned my some of my past career. Auditing was one of my businesses I was in. It was this real strange, very micro niche industry that what we did was we audited the bills of large corporations to see if they made mistakes. Sounds fun, huh?
Lots of fun.
we created an entire industry. We didn't. I mean, I was in the industry. I wasn't part of the creation. I'm not trying to take credit for it. I know the man who did create it, Howard Schultz. He's who I worked for. He created an entire industry out of finding mistakes in boxes and boxes of bills for large multinational corporations, basically every company you could think of, Walmart, Targets, Kmart's, JCPenney's, all the grocers, anybody that buys products and sells to consumers, that's a big multinational corporation, they were our clients.
Wow.
And what we discovered over the course of time was, on average, they pay their bills 99.9% perfectly. They make 0.1% of mistakes. Doesn't sound like much hope for a business, does it? But consider this: $1 billion company, 0.1% is $1 million in mistakes.
Yeah.
And so what Howard did when he got started, he got paid, he found $1 and he got to keep 50 cents and the company got 50 cents back. It was found money.
Yeah.
So why do I tell you this? Because if I said, Stephanie, you have 0.1% chance of getting $1 million if you send me a poem about why you love happy living.
Yeah.
Would you expect $1 million?
No.
1/10. Would you start shopping for cars and how you're going to spend that $1 million? No. Okay, let's put COVID-19 in that context. As of yesterday, the numbers are always changing, but as of yesterday, when I did this, there's 7.7 billion people in the world. There was just barely over 770,000 cases, not deaths, cases.
Right.
And that's 1/100 of 1%.
Yeah.
So that means that you have 99.99% chance of not catching COVID-19.
Right. That's pretty promising.
That's pretty promising. you did catch it, you have an 80% chance that you're just going to have a bad couple of weeks.
Right.
Right? No serious health outcomes.
Right.
So if you put it in that context, that's math. That's not me acting, not listening to science, or that's the real deal. And what people can't understand, and I got to learn how to understand, is the scale of what a billion and a trillion, what that means. It's almost unimagible.
Right.
Throw these words around like they don't mean it, like we can't understand them. So that's the reality. And even if we end up with 770 million cases,
Yeah.
that'll be a tenth of 1%.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry, 7.7 million. That'd be a tenth of 1%. That'd be 99.9% chance that you will not contract this disease.
Right.
Those are the odds. I'll take the odds all day long, and I shouldn't have any fear of it.
Right.
Why are we fearful? So another study I found, there have been 2.1 billion, again with the B word, 2.1 billion media mentions of COVID-19. And the article compared it to the last 4 big health crises. HIV, 69 million. SARS, 66 million. MERS, 33 million. Ebola, 16 million. When you add all those up, that sounds like a lot. There's still 11 times more than all of those combined. So imagine this: if there were 647,000 U.S. deaths because of heart disease last year. There was 47,000 suicides last year. If we had a ticker on our TV saying, hey, we lost another 400 people to suicide today, and we had the mayor of New York and the president of the United States holding big press conferences talking about heart disease and suicide, and telling people, don't go out and don't stress yourself because you might have a heart attack. There's people are dying all the time. That's the reality of it. And the reality is also they're not really dying any faster with COVID-19 than a lot of other things. That's not to say it's not important. The cat's already out of the bag. The media, we've already overreacted, so we are just in this new thing. And there will be a lot of good things that come out of it. But I just mentioned one, and then we'll go back to the one is I heard just by the innovation of creating drive-through testing. I heard a health practitioner say, we're going to save tens of thousands of people next flu season just by that new technique.
Right.
That's awesome, right? And there's going to be lots of good things that come out of it. And what I'd like to talk about today is how can we personalize good things for you so you can transform your life, and then also using this as an opportunity to do good things for others.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So I know you mentioned a lot of the things that you are doing as far as meditation and learning, and how are you keeping yourself calm and happy, and as far as your emotional well-being. And then of course we can get into the immune system in a little bit, but what are your best tips for, in the midst of the fear and all of everywhere you go, it's all everybody's talking about, how are you keeping yourself on that higher vibration?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and I'm happy to say I'm doing a pretty good job of it. But I'll confess, this past Monday, so it's Thursday, 3 days ago, I was just sad.
Yeah.
I never get sad.
Yeah.
I had a hard time shaking it, and I went out and I exercised, and I tried to keep things in perspective. I just did this little routine that, as it turns out, panic, I made it up, but it's not really made up. It's kind of what I do. And so I've been focused on keeping up on the news. I'm fascinated by it. I've been really digging into what can I do to share this message of hope and transformation and inspiration instead of the media assault. So when I'm engaged in something like this, I get very excited, and it makes me feel great, energized. Sunday, I went out and I cleaned out my garage, really good, and I have my music up. So I was doing nesting. We've got some home projects going on. I'm busier than I've ever been. So that's not been a problem for me. I'm trying, I don't know how to explain this or express this. A lot of times when crisis happens like this, and this is a collective crisis, we're all sharing this together. And everybody listening to this knows we all have our own crises, right? Or our family. When we're going through it all by ourselves and nobody else knows about it. Well, this everybody knows about because of those 2.1 billion mentions. So when you're in that, it's like, well, what can I do to help others? And if we're honest, there's always a limit to what are you willing to do, right? If I have $1 million in the bank and I were to give all of that away to good causes, that would be a terrible thing for me to do for my personal self and my family.
Right.
It would be a good thing. So there's always a trade-off.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to do is figure out, what must I do to take care of my health and my family and those around me by listening to officials? What can I and do I want to do to help others? And give myself permission to say, you know what, Matt, you don't have to give all your money away.
Right.
You don't have to give any money away. What do you want to give away? Hope. Okay, go do that. So try to figure out, do what you must, but try to figure out what can you do in all different circumstances, right? Some people tragically have lost their jobs. There is hope though, because we've got all this money that's supposed to be coming out of the government. So if you can just hang in there, what they're trying to do is make sure that businesses don't get broken apart from this. That if there's 150 people in it, they're all going to stay, and they're all going to stay basically as healthy as we can make it collectively. And when we're through this thing, all 150, you can get right back to business doing what you're doing. It's really a smart strategy. Just don't let anything fall apart. And so that's what I would, if you're in that shape, I would try to do everything you can so you don't fall apart. And a part of that will be taking care of yourself. And a part of that will be, even as hard as it feels, if you're just up against it and you lost your job and you feel horrible, one of the best things you could do is something nice for somebody else. It makes you feel, it's actually an immune system booster. And it certainly is an emotional booster. It's a lift. And there's always something we can do. I'll tell you a quick story. I got through Happy Living, and I had this chance to meet someone that probably nobody will know whose this name is. Frank Shankwitz. Everybody will know the organization that he co-founded, Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
This is the Wish Man. Actually, his movies, it gives me goosebumps. His movie is out of his life. It's actually really quite good. It's called Wish Man. And I was interviewing him and talking with him. Did one of my podcasts. And he said when he was growing up, he was super poor. He lived in tents. He lived in other people's houses. His mother, he was just about as poor as you could be. And he had a mentor that took him under his wing, Juan, I can't remember Juan's last name. But anyways, Juan was teaching young Frank a life lesson when he was like 10, 12-year-old boy. And Frank was working in Juan's very famous Snowdrop Inn on Route 66, a very famous icon. Yeah. Anyway, what Juan said to him is, Frank, everybody has something to give. And Frank says, well, Juan, what can I give? I have nothing. He says, oh, you can give plenty. Did you see Mrs. Maria over there? She has, her yard is full of weeds. She gives you food every day. She makes burritos and sends you off to school with food. You could go and weed her lawn.
Yeah.
You could go and do this for help this man paint his fence. There's always something we can do to give to others. So I look inside yourself and don't say, what don't you have? that's important. That's part of must. If I don't have money, I have to figure out how to get money.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to giving, don't think about what you don't have. Think about what you do have. Oh, gee, I got a great spirit. Okay, give that away.
Mm-hmm.
When I have time, if I lost my job, do what you can to make sure your income's taken care of, by applying for all these things that the government is supposed to be putting together for us. Do that, but then do something with your time to give.
Right.
It'll make you feel better, and it'll make the world better, and it'll make this thing go faster, and we'll come out of it a lot better than we went into it. That's my hope.
Absolutely. That's all wonderful advice. So, well, moving on to your physical health, what are you doing? Obviously, right now, one of the most important things that we can all be doing is ensuring a strong, healthy immune system. And there's a lot of tips for that. I'd love to hear your best suggestions for that. And I think this is where you could probably even put your third rack hat on for a little while.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm literally wearing two hats these days. I also want to share something I hadn't thought about. Give me just 1 second.
Sure.
So, as it relates to any kind of life improvement topic, so we're going to talk about taking care of our health, because if we're healthy, and let's just define that for this discussion as our immune system is really strong. Mm-hmm. Then when our immune system is really strong, when things hit us, the doctors will tell you we all have cancer inside us all the time. Mm-hmm. And our immune system fights it off, and it never grows into anything that we recognize because we're strong. Yeah. When our immune system is weakened, whether it's because I don't eat right, or I don't exercise, or I live in a toxic environment, mm-hmm. or I'm mentally, so toxic could be toxins out in the air. Toxins could also be the 2.1 media mentions, and the constant worry and fear that I have that we're never going to get through this, and our economy is going to be train wrecked, and we're all going to be poor, and life is over, and
right.
that constant negativity, what does it do? Weakens your immune system, making you more susceptible to COVID-19 and all kinds of other nasties.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking about life improvement and how do you do things, and I'll share two words. One is Kaizen. It's one of my favorite words in the world. I learned about it like 30 years ago. It's a Japanese term that became popularized when the Japanese car companies were taking over the world and kicking the booty out of Detroit. And we were trying to figure out what were the Japanese doing. And they had Six Sigma was one of their things, and this word Kaizen. Kaizen means this: small incremental improvements add up over time to yield big results.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do, is I want to take small little improvements and keep adding them up. And then I added my own touch to it, Kaizen and Hold. If you do a small incremental improvement, like I started eating sauerkraut 3 or 4 years ago because it's supposed to be good for the stomach biome. Mm-hmm. We didn't even know what the stomach biome was until years ago.
Yeah.
So now I do that every day when I'm home. Like right now, I just ran out of sauerkraut. I don't freak out if I don't have it.
Yeah. Today I ran out of sauerkraut.
Terrible. Don't freak out about it if you don't have it, because that creates stress.
Right.
Which is why we're eating sauerkraut in the first place, to become strong. And lately I've been thinking more and more about, look, there are so many things you could do to improve your health. And I'm going to read you a list right now. Choose the things that make you happy and make you feel good doing them. If somebody says you should fast and you try fasting and you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Find something else.
Right.
And so I'm reading a book. Guy's name is Dave Asprey. My daughter bought me this book for Christmas, and he's a biohacker. I just never liked the term biohacking and hacking in general. I just had this negative, I just didn't like it. But I started reading this guy's book with an open mind, and I started taking notes on. Pretty early on, I figured out this guy's been studying how to improve his health. He wants to live to be 180 years old. And he says, I'm going to live to be 180. I got to do everything right. And so he's experimented. He does he tries anything, it seems like, if he thinks it can help him, and including, natural and non-natural. And I'm pretty much set on I don't want to try drugs that can help me live longer just on principle. Even if I die earlier, I'm fine with that. But so I'm also a best practice enthusiast, and it's what I did in my life. It's what I've done most of my life is work with the collective intelligence of a group and distill the best practices out of them. And in the old days, we put it in the software. Today, I put it into writing and stuff and talks and all that. So I saw early on with Dave's book that, wow, there's a lot of best practices. So I said, what I'm going to do is when I see something that sounds right to me, I'm just going to take a note of it. And then over time, I'm going to put them into practice. Okay, so up my antioxidants. Use skincare products like Third Rock that are antioxidant rich. Add a Zona Plus isometric exercise for improved cardiovascular health. Use a product called TA65 to improve my telomeres and my brain cells. Add MCT or brain octane oil to my diet. Get a Sleep Number bed. Buy an Aura ring. Use Sleep Sonic Coach. Add red light LEDs to the outside of my house. Use medical grade red light therapy. Add CoQ10 100 to 200 milligrams a day. Use bulletproof active PQQ supplement. Add lion's mane mushroom supplement from Life Cycle. Add curcumin to my diet. Use an ancient Chinese herb for longevity enhancing and hair restoration called He Shu Wu. Replace all the mercury fillings in my teeth. Add fine grain activated charcoal capsules. On and on and on and on it goes. Mm-hmm. I've got 27 things to do. I can't do all of them. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do all of them. Experiment with what you're trying to improve, mm-hmm. and find something that fits you, and then do that.
Right.
You'll do it because you enjoy it. So mm-hmm. There's a spa, Relax Spa. It's an infrared spa that you get in. It's supposed to do all this good stuff for you. And I thought, that sounds awesome. I always have loved spas. So I'm about to buy one of those. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be one of my big adders. And I was doing annual monthly fasts, which I put them on my calendar. And the closer I got to them, I always just got oh God, my fast is coming up. And then I met a guy who said, 1 night fast is not enough. You need to do 4 days. So I did 2 4-day fasts. And again, as it approached, I said, I don't want to do, I just didn't like it. And it wasn't really that hard. It didn't feel good to me. And I got less and less happy as the date came up in my calendar. So I said, I'm not going to do them anymore. I just decided I'm not going to do them anymore. I took them off my calendar and I'm going to buy an infrared spa instead. And maybe I'll get that lion's mane or I'll do right. 2 or 3 on this list that fit with me.
Right.
So that's what I would say. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do anything that someone tells you. Mm-hmm. Explore for yourself and do things that make you feel good, mm-hmm. and that you'll keep doing. Yeah. And then find something else, and then find something, and then you'll get this beautiful upward spiral in your life, and you'll live happily, a lot happier, because you're doing things that make you feel good and improve your health. And I'll add one more thing. Way you define it. Mm-hmm. You remember B.B. King, mm-hmm. Legendary Forest?
Yes. Okay,
you're in health and wellness. Did B.B. King appear to be the epitome of health and wellness?
Not so much.
Overweight, right? I don't know what his diet was like, but I bet it wouldn't pass muster.
I think he was diabetic too. Yeah.
But he lived a long life.
He did.
He took care of himself. And he gave to others, mm-hmm. and he lifted the spirit of millions and millions of people around the world for his whole life. So who are we to say in health and wellness that he didn't have it right? See, he was doing what he loved, and that energizes the spirit. And that when your spirit is energized, for some reason, it overcomes all kinds of other so-called bad things. Mm-hmm. That's, to me, it's really exploring what do you want to do, what makes you feel good, and do more of that while you're taking care of what you have to do.
Right.
The more you take care of what you have to do and you can spend more time doing what you want to do, that's when you really start to feel that your life is changing in the direction that you want, you're not going in the direction that others have said you should go.
Absolutely. So, well, I want to just give you a heads up. I think we have 5 minutes before Zoom is going to cut us off. But do you have any other tips for us before we wrap up the call?
Well, let's talk silver.
Yeah.
We have been at Third Rock. Our founder, Gary Gruen, is a genius, mad scientist, product formulator, and he makes things that have become common products in homes, like sunscreen, first aid ointments, deodorants, an alternative to Vaseline. Everything he makes is all food grade edible. You can literally eat our sunscreen. Mm-hmm. But it's also not just re-engineered to get the bad stuff out of the product that he's formulating. For example, sunscreens have lots of toxins. Mm-hmm. He reformulates it, completely re-engineers it, not reverse engineered, but re-engineers it, and then patents it. So we have the world's only sunscreen that's made from patented chelated zinc oxide and glycerin. Most sunscreens are made with water, and then they tend to wash off easily. And ours, I could spend a half hour talking about sunscreen, but we won't. Yes. With silver, he also so our silver, we have two types. This is a tonic. It has 150 parts per million. And this is what I take on a daily basis. I'll take a tablespoon or so, actually pour a shot glass and drink a little shot glass. And then we also have a product that's called the elixir, and it's 4,000 parts per million. Okay. This one costs twice as much as this one. Right. That makes sense. This one makes about 3 of these. Yes. What silver is been known through centuries to have health, to be healthy in so much as it's antimicrobial and antibacterial. Lately, the National Institute of Health came out and said there's been some studies that say it's also antiviral. Mm-hmm. And we don't make any claims. I'm not making any claim here that, if you take silver, you can kill all the bacteria and you're not going to get any viruses. That's not the point. What the silver does is it helps to boost your immune system by eliminating some of the bacteria and some of the virus and so on and so forth. Right. And so silver has been known for years to be medicinal. Then comes big business, big pharma, big medicine. Instead of having a country doctor that treated the entire body, now you go to a health practitioner, and then whatever your sickness is, you get sent to this specialist. But that specialist knows nothing about this part of you, so you'd have to go to another specialist. So we changed everything. Right. And changing of everything, we got away from natural products to pharmaceutical products. Right. The same thing that happened in food, and so it's a common story. So now health and wellness is coming back. Functional medicine doctors, the old country docs are coming back. It's all starting to cycle back that way. And along with that cycling, a product called colloidal silver has started to become quite popular. Almost any health and wellness enthusiast will know about it. I think we have less than a minute. We could always jump on another call if we need to, though. Should we start a new one? Sure. Okay. So let's go ahead and end this, and we'll do part 2. Okay. And I'll send you a link. Okay. Thanks.